So I'm Ella Jarman-Pinto and I am a storytelling composer. And my focus is on working with words and voice and music to propel forwards, voices of the future, generations of the future who are working to create positive change. So it's all about looking at ways that we can live together better as humans, ways we can live together with the world better, even if it's just really small, subtle, positive change like that. It has to be really positive. It has to be really forward thinking and out of the box. And the idea is for me, then my music kind of comes along and I like to say, extraordinary music for extraordinary words, or setting extraordinary words to extraordinary music. So it's this idea of it's this real collaboration, and everything has to be about making the world a better place because we really need that right now. It's going to be called Insert Expletive Here. Um, and it comes from someone saying to me on my post, why do you have to make it about racism when it's not? And I was like, because it is. and and my first idea was basically to swear at her. And I was like, well, I can't really swear at her. But yeah, so that kind of title became my working title for a while. And then I thought, actually, it needs a response. Yeah, so it came out with the idea. I was talking to Matt and Sarah about, they're programming the Battle of Cable Street, and they wanted something that was about social kind of progression, social discourse, talking about something that's actually happening in the world. And I was like, well, certainly in the public eye, spate of black deaths at police hands, at state hands, and black people basically being martyred. They changed the world. Their deaths changed the world, but actually, what of their lives? Would they be, if they had been given that opportunity to choose whether to die in this horrendous way and change the world or live their life nice and easy, which one would you choose? It's this idea of actually, even in that death, in that raising up of a name and using it to change the world, raising up of a name and it having its spark and movement, it still dehumanizes that person. That person becomes less than human or more than human. And actually then, how much does that help? Because how many more people need to die for the change to be permanent? And I've actually found writing this piece really, really hard, really, really hard, because obviously there's narrators in, and so there are words involved, and I usually get someone else to write my words because I'm like, I'm a composer, I don't write words. But I'm doing a lot of personal work, and I was like, no, Ella, you're very capable of writing words. You write all your social media posts, you write blogs, you just got to get rid of this thing of you can't write poetry. And I just started writing, and I just spent weeks on these words, and the more came out and more came out and more came out, and it was, I was making sure that I was asking people, because it's like I've no idea what I'm doing. So I was going to quite a few different people who I trust in their literary genius, and they were coming back to me saying this is really powerful. And actually, one person was like, I can't finish it. I need to come back to it. So there's a lot of real heavy emotions coming out, but what 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 came to me was what it turned into is that actually it's my fear. I am terrified of becoming a martyr. It's so easy as a black person, as a woman, to be destroyed, whether that's your life taken away from you physically, whether you die, or um whether that's your career gone. You have to be better than perfect. You cannot make any mistakes. You have to be absolutely squeaky clean. I mean, the recent nomination of, I can't remember her name because I'm so bad at names, but the recent nomination of that incredible judge who sat there while these men who did not have a clue what they were saying just ripped into her. And she is the most qualified, candidate for Supreme Justice. She's more qualified than anyone there, and yet they could just rip her to shreds. And I mean, hats off to her. She kept her cool, and so that's why the piece has got insert expletive here. It's literally just like, I have nothing else to say to you except very strong language, you know. So that's basically what the piece is about. And yes, it's a bit of a heart and soul piece, basically. The issue I have when writing for classical music and classical musicians, especially when I'm trying to then talk about my own experiences or my own feelings, is that I can pretty much assume the majority of the people playing it are going to be white, or not black, essentially. Gender parity wise, it feels like actually there will be more people who kind of who will relate to like my speakings of being a woman, cis woman, but um, but yeah, it's still, you know, it's still a male world, even though it is getting better. It is still a male world. It's still very focusing on masculine, you know, achievement, perfection, and so it really, I do have this question in my head, like, can I be really truly me? Because actually, then I'm giving it to people who have to perform it, and they might not agree with me, and if they don't agree with me, is that fair on them? Or if they don't agree with me, is that fair on me? Or is that fair on the audience? Like, will they kind of portray it? Because for me, you know, performer safety is paramount. It really is paramount. You know, I don't ever want to put someone in danger through doing my music. If they are performing my music, I want them to be on board. I want to challenge them. I want to have them think, but it cannot be an unsafe environment for them, because that is not where I'm at. That is not what I'm interested in. I don't mind pushing people out of their comfort zone as long as there are areas that they can sink back into it. It has to have that safety. So it's like, how do I balance being truly and utterly me and my fears and my worries and my love and my words? You know, these are my words. They're not anyone else's words, which is what I would usually do. They're my words. And how do I balance that with the experience of the performers when I know the demographic, what that's potentially going to be? Um, and that has been a real kind of stumbling block. And it got to the point where my mum was like, Ella, just forget about the words, just write the music. Start writing the music and you'll work it out. Just stop trying to make the words fit somewhere. Um, and so, you know, that has been my approach. Like, how do I balance the needs of everyone involved when actually it's so important that I don't compromise on the message? I feel like the thing the audience needs to do is they just need to leave their ideas of the world at the door. You know, you just need to leave your ideas of how life is at the door, because, you know, if you don't have a lived experience of somebody, um, and I speak from experience of not having lived experience of, obviously, you know, I don't have lived experience of everybody, can't relate to everybody, but you know, actually sometimes you just need to shut up and listen. And so I suppose all I would ask of the audience, if probably in a more polite way, is to leave expectations, to go, oh, why is it always about race? Leave that at the door and listen to what I have to say.